I'm sure the reason you're here today is really nothing to do with the internet. You really just want to grow your business. And in order to do that, obviously it's important to improve your lead generation. You want to take market share away from your competitors. I'm sure many of you would have had the experience. You've spent a lot of money on your website and on your online strategy, but it's actually cost you money. It's not making you money. So what we aim to do is provide you with a roadmap to move forward, so you become the trusted authority in your market. We all know that none of us have time. You really haven't got time to focus on online marketing, so you really want to know the stuff that works and to move forward with speed. So just to on that note, we're going to cover a lot of information today. But please be assured, if you apply just 20% of what we're going to present today, then you will be well ahead of the pack. So as I say, the plan is to provide a roadmap to take it further, either alone or with guidance from us. Online marketing in a nutshell. Well, there is a lot of confusion out there in regard to online marketing, but really it just boils down to two things. It's just traffic and conversion. Everything we do in online marketing falls into one of those two areas, traffic and conversion. So you need a system. You need a system to do both, actually, a system to drive traffic and a system to convert that traffic to initially leads, then to sales. Now, here's the problem. I'm sure most of you would recognize this. You pay money, say, for search engine optimization. You drive traffic to your website, but those site visitors don't engage. They arrive at the website. They play around with the buttons, they do whatever, but for whatever reason, they come and they go, and you never know that they've been to the site. They don't leave their contact information. So as a result, you're not getting that initial conversion. So the main point I'd like to make is that conversion is king, not traffic. No point wasting money on all of these traffic generation techniques, SEO, whatever. You really have to get your website converting first. So if that one message comes across in this webcast, if we succeed in getting that one message across, then your time will have been well spent. Conversion is king, not traffic. Now, here is why conversion is so important. I'm sure we are all familiar with this problem. 1 in 2,000 visitors drive half your profits. 1 in 2,000. Let me explain the logic behind that. We're all familiar with the 80-20 rule, where 80% of our profits come from 20% of our customers. But what we don't always realize, that 80-20 rule also applies to the top 20% of customers. So if we apply that 80-20 rule to the top 20%, without getting too deeply into the math, what it really means is about 5% of your customers drive half of your profits. 5% of customers drive half of your profits. Now here's the thing. Only 1% of site visitors become customers. That is, if your website is converting reasonably well. Most websites don't convert at 1%. In fact, most websites would struggle to get 0.5% conversion. So, again, without getting too deeply into it, what it means is 1 in 2,000 visitors drive half your profits. So you really must convert that 1 in 2,000. And what that means, your website has to be very, very focused. You must convert to lead initially, then to customer after a follow-up process. So I hope that makes sense. End result, you must capture the lead first. You have to build a responsive database. And here's another key point. Whoever is the biggest, most responsive database wins. The money is in the database. An example of an organization that do a fantastic job of this. This is an organization called Ozsale. They've only been going since 2006. They're in I guess the best way to describe them would be in the fashion business. They have daily sales where they have fashion items for sale, and they send an email out to their client base, out to their database on a daily basis. And wait for it, they have a database in Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore of 10 million. So since 2006, they've built up a prospect database of 10 million. Now, I can't give detail as to how many of those are paying customers, but let me say this: a high percentage of their database are repeat buyers. So what a powerful business that is. And the two lessons to take away from this, one is the very first thing that AusSale do when someone arrives at their website is they capture the lead. A pop-up appears. Now, pop-ups, we all have our opinions on pop-ups, and not all of us like pop-ups, but in this case, the pop-up is getting in the center you see, enter your details. That certainly is capturing the lead, and people move on to engage with the website. So that's been extraordinarily effective for AusSale. Here's a method that we use in some of our own landing pages, and you should also consider this. It's a very easy thing to do. Let's give away something of value up front. It has to be a valuable piece of information, let it be a free report or a free video or whatever. You give away something that is going to deliver value to your prospect, and in doing that, you capture the lead. So it's all about traffic and conversion. Conversion is king. The primary goal is build that responsive database, and as I said before, the money is in the list. Okay, this looks a really complex slide, but it's not that complex, really. It's just a typical sales funnel where you've got traffic, you've got free traffic, you've got paid traffic, and that's really just visitors to your website. When someone arrives, they don't know you. The first objective is to build that relationship, then follow up on a regular basis. First of all, you have to engage. You've got to give away that freebie, let it be the free report or the free video or whatever, and then gradually take them through a process where you present an offer, maybe for a small priced item, and then gradually move through to a more substantial sale. And as time goes by and you build a relationship through quality content, you build that relationship, and they're more willing to spend more money with you over time. So we spoke about traffic and conversion. Now, as I said, conversion is the most important. You really have to get your website converting. And as this slide shows, there are multiple ways to drive traffic. Everything from pay-per-click to search engine optimization, through to direct mail, social media, viral, mobile, you name it. One thing that's perhaps not recognized currently, direct mail, traditional media in general is just as powerful, if not more powerful, than online media. It's really important to drive traffic from traditional media. Direct mail is one example. That's working like gangbusters today because everyone's moved online, and the old traditional methods such as direct mail are working even better than they used to. So no shortage of traffic. We've all got this obsession with being number one in Google. Believe me, there are many, many ways to drive traffic apart from being number one in Google and apart from search engine optimization. It does have its place. We've identified something like 57 different ways to drive traffic. So traffic is the least of our concerns. It's all about conversion. Now, on the right-hand side of that slide, you'll see a number of things we must have in place in order to convert, and things such as you must have a really good offer, the website must be trusted, you must have a reason to engage, you must have a streamlined lead capture system. Most of us struggle to get even one of these things in place, and your competitors certainly haven't got all of this in place. So if you get just one or two of these things in place, you will convert better than your competitors. Now, I mentioned trust. Here is an example of a website that, with full disclosure, I'm actually on the board of this company. This is State Custodians. They're in the home loan business, which is a highly competitive market. State Custodians have really, in terms of trust, you could not wish for a more powerful website. They've won a number of awards, the Non-Bank Lender of the Year 2012, Mortgage of the Year 2012. They've got loads of awards. They've been covered on Today Tonight. And when you arrive at their website, they're a relatively small company, but the first thing comes across is, I trust this company. Now, there's a lot happening here in the background. They've created they've got a massive amount of quality content. They've got what they call Loan TV, where they release videos on a regular basis, and they deliver a great service. But the point I want to make here is this is someone who's just using just one aspect of the conversion process, trust mainly, followed up by quality content, and they're converting extremely well. Now, quality content. We've spoken a few times, we've mentioned quality content on the previous slides, but why is that so important? Well, in one word, the iPad. If we're all familiar with the iPad, but what we perhaps don't realize is there have been 67 million iPads sold since that device was released. No other device in history has sold as much as the iPad in the first 2 years since release. And of course, we've also got the Amazon Kindle, which has sold a bucket load also. So these devices, as we know, they're not computers. These are content consumption devices. These are devices with one single purpose, that is to enable delivery of content. And given that Google's mission is to organize the world's content, it's really important that we create content that is accessible via these devices. So the world is really moving towards, content has always been important, but content on these devices is critical to getting your business ranked on Google and to promoting your business on the net. So in order to take full advantage of this, we need a content distribution strategy. And obviously it's good to put quality content on our own website. That establishes authority, but that's not enough. It's more important to distribute that content throughout the net. So really, we're all in the content publishing business. And let me explain what I mean by that. If you assume that Google is the center of the universe, which certainly Google would agree with, Google owns YouTube in the top right-hand side there. Google content that is promoted or is delivered on YouTube ranks very highly on Google. On the left-hand side, you've got Facebook. Now, Google, it's debatable what Google's view is on Facebook, but certainly Google would view Facebook as a competitor. But they still rank content on Facebook very, very highly on the engine. And Google Plus is Google have bet the farm on Google Plus. That's really the thrust of their social media strategy. You have other social media sites out there, such as LinkedIn and Twitter. But on the top left-hand corner, we've got our own website, your website. So see how insignificant your website is in comparison to all of these big, powerful sites that Google ranks highly. So what that means is it's really important to take your content, that means your videos or your podcasts or any content, articles, press releases, whatever, make sure that that content has a presence on those big, powerful sites, not just on your website. Your website is a very small part of the equation. Just to illustrate that point, we have your website. Your website is obviously the focal point. That's the real purpose of your website is to enable conversion. When visitors arrive at your website, they convert to a sales lead. But your content, it has to appear on your website, but it also must appear on these big third-party sites. So hence, we call it it's a grab for virtual real estate. So in order to do this, we need a system. Like everything else, we need a system. It's important to have what we call a content factory. We need a production line. We need to create content. Now, we don't have to produce masses of content initially. Just get some sort of system going where every week we're producing a video, or every week a few videos, or we're producing press releases, or articles that we can distribute across the net, or blog posts. Doesn't matter. Just get something going. Just get something going on a regular basis. And that quality content is aimed at providing useful information to your target market. Where does that quality content come from? Well, most of it exists already. It's already in your filing cabinets. It's in your head. It's wherever. That content, that's the IP of your business. That content is really what enables you to deliver a great service to your customers. So let's take a lot of that and turn that into content that can be distributed across the internet. Another important thing is your competitors aren't doing this. So now's the time. That's their weakness. If you're able to make that jump towards publishing content on a regular basis, you'll find your competitors will be left behind because they wouldn't know where to start with this. And certainly they have not made a start on this. So now's the time to get that content out there and start taking market share from your competitors. Another really important part is don't overlook the power of your story. The story is something actually. Customers will pay a premium for the story. You just have to look at the beer companies, and you see the ads for the latest beer from say Tasmania, and the water from clear mountain streams. That's a story. People pay money for that story. A simple one is the whole free range eggs versus the caged eggs. Obviously, free range is more expensive. But people pay money for the free range because they don't want to buy a product where chickens are in cages. That's the story is actually selling the product. People are paying a premium for the story. So it's important to find where the story is in regard to your business, and the story is likely something that will differentiate you from your competitors. Now, we've presented a part of the system. We've focused on the lead generation part of the system, but really there are 5 steps to the process. And I'll go through those one by one. First of all, we've got the traffic system, then the lead generation system, which we spent some time discussing, then delivery system, this is where we deliver our product or service, then the lifetime, and we all spend a lot of time making sure we deliver a great product and service, Lifetime value, really that boils down to our database, and referrals, which tend to happen by accident, and we want those to happen in a more active way. But just to illustrate, I'll just grab a glass of water, just to illustrate this diagrammatically. Starting from the left-hand side, we've got the traffic system. It's important to drive traffic from multiple sources. Next one along is the lead generation system, and that's the key to this is driving traffic one target market at a time. Let me repeat that, one target market at a time. So we have one landing page that's converting, get one landing page for one target market, get that working, then move on to the next landing page, then move on to the next, and just gradually add more conversion systems, if you like, or more subsystems into your marketing, and one at a time. Then gradually you get a number of landing pages that are converting, and as a result, you're driving more qualified leads and more qualified customers into your delivery system, which is where you deliver your product or service. Then the next one along, the orange one, is your lifetime value system. That is your database, and it's we all have a database, but how often do we communicate with that database? Getting back to the previous example of AusSale send an email out to their database every single day, and some of us are nervous about, we're concerned about how often we communicate, but let me just make one point. The more often you communicate with your database, the more money you make. So when was the last time you communicated with your database? AusSale, the reason they're able to communicate on a daily basis is that people want to receive messages from AusSale because they deliver a great product. And obviously you deliver a great product, so communicate with your database on a regular basis. And referrals are really, that's word of mouth. Most of us rely on referrals, but quite often it's happening by accident. So let's make sure that it's happening in an active way rather than a passive way. And of course, it looks like a little rocket ship. The very pointy end of the rocket is your story, which we've touched on before. And this is a really interesting one. This is the back end. This is the machine or the number of systems that drive everything, and this is your traffic sources. And as I think I mentioned earlier, there are multiple traffic sources. In fact, we've identified something like 57 different ways to drive traffic to your business. Everything from social media through to traditional radio, television, direct mail, mobile, affiliates, joint ventures. There is no shortage of traffic. Believe me, no shortage of traffic, but really important to convert. So getting to the next one, which is the lead generation system, it's all about conversion, one target market at a time, targeted landing pages, know your conversion metrics inside out, and be assured if you're converting properly, you will have no trouble driving traffic in a profitable way. So the key points, the key takeaways from all of that, we've got the lead generation system, we've touched on the traffic system, and there are three others which we go into in a webinar, which we'll mention later, but those three others are obviously delivery, lifetime value, and referral. So the key takeaways from all of that, we have to continually optimize all components of the system. I make a point here, tactics change, principles never change. What I've just described here are that there are multiple ways to drive traffic. Now, Facebook and Twitter and all these social media things may come and go, but the principles never change. If your landing pages are converting, you can drive traffic from multiple sources. Let it be the social media strategy that's effective today, or it may be, as I say, these social media engines may come and go, but your landing pages are constant, and the conversion will always work irrespective of the traffic source. So, and of course, the machine is driven by quality content. Now, here is the system, the overall system that we've developed to attract customers. We call it the SPEED system, and I'll just go into how we arrived at that and how it's relevant to your business and how you can apply it straight away. Speed, we've broken down into these areas, and these are steps you can apply straight away. This is one of the takeaways we'd like you to apply immediately. You can apply this whether you use our own. We offer a service where we will build this entire thing for you. But if you decide to do it yourself, this is how you do it. First of all, you systemize your marketing. You split it into those 5 areas that we described, and that's the lead generation, the traffic, the delivery, lifetime value, and referral. So map that out for your own business. Then position your product or service where you've got your identify your ideal customer, tell your story, get all that in place so you know your landing pages will convert. Then engineer your system, get your analytics in place. We haven't mentioned Google Analytics, but it's important that we analyze all your metrics from unique visitors through to conversion to leads, through to conversion to customers. So engineering, really get that structured process in place. Then educate your customers through quality content. And the very last thing is drive traffic. No point driving traffic until we have these other things in place. Now, how can we improve fast? Well, we learn from industries, many industries, manufacturing, we must measure everything, and this applies to all systems. Everyone from Drucker to Galileo says, Drucker says you can't manage what you don't measure. A mentor of mine, Dan Kennedy, you must know your metrics inside out, upside down, backward, forward, minute by minute. So Dan's pretty focused on the metrics, and you should be too. Now, in order to get the measuring process started and a starting point, as I say, I really would recommend you do this for your business today. Just immediately after this webcast, I would apply these measures. Just map it out on a piece of paper and just give yourself a score out of 10 in each of these areas. I think what you'll find is your score will be quite low overall, and that's normal. Even the most successful businesses that we deal with, their score at this starting point is usually quite low, and that's good news because it just shows how easy it is to apply a few of these principles to each of the areas and grow the business rapidly. Now, we do talk about let's double the business with speed and so on and so forth. It really is practical if you start to apply these measures and apply some of these concepts to each part of the business and do it in a structured way. The plan here is, or the objective here is to put it all in perspective for you. And of course, 80-20 rule applies. We've covered a lot, but let's just get something happening. The 80% of the result will come from 20% of the effort, so we don't have to get it all right, just get some of it working for us. So 80-20 again, back to 80-20. 20% of the effort delivers 80% of the results. So let's just apply that 80-20 to when you map out this for your business. Very simple, get a piece of paper, just map out those 5 areas. It's just a different way to look at your marketing and apply the 80-20. What I would say is there are many, many ways to drive traffic. Just pick 1 or 2 that you think are going to be best for you, and let's test those. Let's just get 1 or 2 different sources of traffic. That might be, you might decide to advertise in Google. That's pay-per-click. You might decide on banner ads. You might decide on traditional media, press releases, whatever. But try just 1 or 2 traffic sources initially, and then gradually add more traffic sources until you've got multiple traffic sources converting. And as I said before, the important bit is getting those landing pages converting in the first place. So get that second part, that the lead generation system, get that working first. And again, 80-20 rule, just pick 1 or 2 different target markets, specific target markets, get your landing pages working for that before moving on to the next one. So all the way through 80-20. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, we've put together a toolkit which we think will help you a lot. It's still in beta at the moment, but we're going to make this toolkit available to to all clients who register for our upcoming webinar. And I'll just go through the basics of this. It's been developed by David Dans, who I think Terry mentioned earlier. David is, when I say developed, the development has been driven by David. David hasn't actually done the development, but it's been driven by David. And the toolkit is basically a number of tools to help you identify where you are today and then set some goals where you want to be in the future. So number of unique visitors to your site, how they're converting, put all your conversion rates in, and it gives you a starting point in order to start growing the business, applying some of these principles and growing the business. And just an example of what it may look like when we apply the measure that I just mentioned. And we will give you criteria for all of this for those of you who want to attend our upcoming series of webinars. We'll give you criteria for each area, and when we apply that criteria to each of the subsystems, if you like, we come up with a score. And the score is likely to be quite low, which again is good news, because that score, we take that score, we say, okay, where are we going to get the most improvement quickly? And we focus in the area that's going to give us the most improvement quickly, and it gives us a roadmap to move forward. So I think you're going to enjoy this. We're releasing this on the iPad. initially. I think David also plans to release an iPhone version, but really, irrespective of the platform, this is a little set of tools which I think you're going to get enormous value from in applying these principles to your own business. So just to summarize, we're almost there. First most important thing is capture those leads first. When someone arrives at your website, make sure you capture the lead before trying to convert to a customer. Build that database. The money is in the database. Conversion is king. Conversion is more important than traffic. Create quality content. That may be videos, podcasts. It may be traditional media. It may be press releases. Multiple ways to drive traffic. Think of your business in terms of those 5 separate systems. That's the traffic system, the lead generation system, delivery, lifetime value, and referral, and measure everything. And if you decide to join us in the webinar, use the Speed Toolkit, which we will make available to you. Don't worry, we've covered a lot. As I say, apply the 80-20. This may seem overwhelming, but believe me, your competitors, I'm sure you're aware of it, your competitors aren't even close to getting this in place. So if you make a start, then you will be well ahead.